Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of MoBetta Trading. I'm your host, as always, Antonio, aka Mr. MoBetta. And today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at Ethereum and Bitcoin. But firstly, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Ethereum just because I really like the way the chart is setting up right now. And I think it's going to give us a good potential trade setup for tomorrow and maybe later on in the week. Okay, so as y'all can see, Friday we had a huge move up on Ethereum from 44.50 all the way up to about 47.50, right? So a good $300 move. Now, we took this trade on Friday and we ended up closing at about 4,600, right? Which is kind of crazy. We still had a $150 move on top of that, which you can go back and look at my trade on TikTok from, I believe it was from the 12th of September, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, from Friday the 12th, where we caught a good move on Ethereum here. Now, over the weekend and throughout the duration of the finishing duration of Friday, we have just traded straight back down, and we've now taken liquidity from Friday. Okay. And so now we're going to go ahead and scale down into lower time frames. But what I'm liking here is that we are getting a potential hammer candle to be developing here on the daily time frame, right? And if you don't know what a hammer candle is, go to Baby Pips, go to somewhere where you can, anyway, just Google a hammer candle, right? Now, usually we prefer to see a hammer finish bullish. However, the fact that we've got a really long wick at the bottom, and if we close the candle where it is right now, this would be an excellent setup for a potential move up if we're able to break above this high and respect the low. Okay, so just like any other setup, right? So we're gonna go drop down into the 4-hour, and here is what we see. We need to first identify where our area of support is, and on the 4-hour you can see that we've got some support being developed here at around 44.60. Okay, now why is this support? Because we had a down move followed by a bullish candle developing after a down candle. That is literally what support is. Now it's a really good support for me because this bullish candle couldn't even really come close to breaking this low, and then finished all the way back near the top side of the previous down candle. So giving us some really potentially good setups here. So next thing we need to do is find our area of resistance, which is going to be right here at about 45.20, right? You can see that. Why is this resistance? Because we had a bullish candle followed by a bearish candle, and then we broke the bullish candle's low, right? So we broke support, that creates resistance. Okay. Anyway, so then we're going to drop down to the 1-hour. Okay, 1-hour is setting up pretty solid as well. So they're about the same area for resistance. You know, our support can probably be dropped down to here. And now we're going to be asking ourselves, where is there a potentially good trade setup developing, or where would we want to see candles close and finish in order for us to get involved? Okay, so on the short side, the only way that I can be interested in shorting at this point is if we are to get a candle to close below this area of support. Now, why is that? If you close below this area of support, you did something that this candle couldn't do, that this candle couldn't do, that this candle couldn't do, that this candle couldn't do. None of them could close below this area. Okay, and not only that, the only reason that we must wait for this is because you have an area of potential support here at 44.70, here at 44.60. You drop another 30-minute time frame, about the same. You got some support here potentially, some support here potentially, right? So it's just very muddy, it's very messy. Okay, so I don't like messy. I want it to be very clean and very easy. The only way that it's going to be clean and easy is if we get a candle to close below here, and then maybe we can fill in this, all of this stuff down here. But even this gets a little bit jumbled, right? Because you can find support down here as well. So we would just have to see how we would want to execute should that happen. Now on the long side, on the buy side, the only way that I'm interested in getting long or buying is if we were to get a candle to close above this area of resistance. And why does it need to close above there? Can you tell me why? Somebody put your thinking cap on. Say it out loud. I need you to tell yourself why. Because if we were to get a candle to close above this area of resistance, that would be something that these candles couldn't do, that these candles couldn't do, that these candles couldn't do, that this candle couldn't do. We would be doing something that multiple candles were unable to do, and that is close above resistance. And then on top of that, we have a huge, huge range of about 1,300 pips. Okay, a 1,300 pip range above here, all the way back up to 46.75. And this is a very clean candle range, right? There's no traffic on the way up. This is what I like to see getting filled. You could even target somewhere like maybe this flat wick, because we're unlikely to just go straight line up, right? So what I would be anticipating is that we get a move that comes up here and maybe it stalls out, right? And maybe it drifts back down and then we get up. Okay, that's possible. That is what is called a break and a retest. Break resistance, retest resistance, confirm it as support, and then continue moving up. Okay. Yeah, so that would be the only way that I'm interested in getting long at this point. Anything in between here on the long side or the short side at this point is a no trade zone. Okay, this is a no trade zone. Why? Because we can just waddle around in here. We can do anything. We can go here, we can just stall out, we can get here. We need to see candles close above or below support or resistance in order for us to get involved. Me personally, that's what I need to see. So super easy, super simple. Ethereum is setting up really nicely. You know, this range could go on for a little while, so you have to be patient. And you also, the only way that price is going to break above an area of resistance or below an area of support is during a high volume time like London Open, London, New York crossover, New York Open, New York Stock Exchange Open, right? So you have to be present at the right time for these moves to happen the way you want to see them happen. And at this point at 4:40 p.m., there's no volume in the market. There's no reason to be involved in a trade at all. Okay, at all. And for me personally, more often than not, Asian session is going to be a consolidation session, right? That's just in my personal experience. So I'm not really interested in trading Asian session, which will begin at 7 p.m. Okay, so my only areas of interest or my only time frames of interest are going to be during London Open, pre-London, New York Open, pre-New York, New York Stock Exchange Open, right? So basically from 2 a.m. to about 9 a.m. are the only times where I'll be looking at the chart to see if anything is developing in the way that I want to see it. Okay, now that doesn't mean that I'm going to be up from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. staring at the charts. I will have alerts set, and when they go off, I will come and check the chart and see if it's developing the way that I want to see it. Okay, so super simple. I think that this is what is going to happen, that we're going to get a break and a retest, and then we're going to fill in this gap. But I'm prepared if we were to break and close below here. I'm also prepared to get short if we were to wick up, respect this candle's high, and break its low. That would get me interested in the short there, and we would figure out where we're going to take it down here. But again, kind of messy, so I'm not really leaning towards that option. I want to lean towards the clean range, clean break option. Okay. Now, let's move on to Bitcoin. And this is actually a perfect example. Okay, you could even take this example of what happened here on Bitcoin and apply it to Ethereum. Okay? Bitcoin had a range developing here. We had an area of clean candles, right? And you can really, you could take this back all the way down towards 115K. But for recency's sake, you had an area of resistance developed. Once this candle closed above this area of resistance, you could have put your order above this high, and you probably had to scale in a little bit, see where you wanted to drop. Your stop loss could have been below this bullish candle's low, and boom, immediately you get a huge move. Okay, you get a huge move there, and it fills in this entire range. Okay, so similar idea has already played out on Bitcoin that we want to see happen on Ethereum. So now all we got to do is just wait and see how it's going to develop, right? But now just taking a fresh analysis of Bitcoin, what do we have here? We got an area of resistance that we have already tapped right into. Okay. Now, in my opinion, we need to see, again, a candle close above about 117,000. If we can get a candle to close above here at 117K, especially if this candle finishes out bearish, and then we get a bullish candle to close. Oops. Then we get a bullish candle to close above resistance. That is all I need to see in order for me to jump into a long and potentially get a move up into about 118,500 would be the next area of resistance. Okay. As you can see, this was an area where price tried to push up, couldn't push up and fill all of this void, and then broke down, right? So if we could get a candle to close above here, that would be something that these candles couldn't do, that these candles couldn't do, that none of these candles could do, that these candles couldn't do. And that would signify that, in my opinion, the market is ready to move up and fill in this gap, at least maybe even up to here at 119K. Okay. Now, should we, should we say we get a candle, right? I don't want to do too many like what if scenarios because anything can happen, but just for example's sake, say we finished a candle bullish up here. Okay, and let me get the wick in there. Should we finish a candle like this? Okay, and the next candle cannot break this candle's high. Go ahead here. Right, and instead wicks up. I'm gonna say close here, wicks up, and then breaks below this candle's low after creating some resistance, you know, after creating a bullish candle above resistance, and we break this bullish candle's low, then I would say, okay, if we're gonna break this low, then we're probably gonna trade back down into the next area of support, which would probably be somewhere around here in this cluster, right, before we'd be able to look for some longs. Okay. Otherwise, there's nothing to short here, in my opinion. There's just nothing to short. There's no short opportunities until you get a candle to close way the fuck down here. All right, and that's just like, you know, just feel like it's unlikely right now. So either you're going to get a candle to close down here for a short, or you're going to see a rejection develop after creating support and breaking the support candle's low. Then we could take a trade back down towards 114,000, maybe it's only into 115, 116K, right? But for right now, the easy trade, candle close above 117, you have room up to about 118,500, potentially up to about 119,000, and yeah, that's it. That's all there is to it. So not gonna hold y'all too long. Those are the two ideas that I have for Bitcoin, the two ideas that I have for Ethereum as well. So cool. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Drop a like, drop a sub if you aren't subscribed already. If you are still watching the video, do me a favor, drop a like. Comment any other any other coins or any other things you want me to see or want me to talk about or what y'all want to see. If there's any explanations that you need, or if you're confused as to why I've marked these areas out for areas of interest, I'll be more than happy to explain. But yeah, till next time, I appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one.